Welcome to Major Keys. I'm Shantiana Keys here with Hall of Famer, gold medalist, softball player turned broadcaster, Jessica Mendoza. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No, I'm so excited to be here. I know we've talked about this and I am absolutely pumped to be able to join you.
Yes, and I would be remiss to not mention that we are also fellow Night Commission members, which makes me even more excited for this interview. You've accomplished a lot, and at the beginning of every show, each guest, I ask them to take me through their sports journey in 60 seconds. So you've accomplished a lot in your career, but I want you to take me all the way to the beginning.
Is there like a buzzer where it's like,
I'll be soft on the buzzer, but yes, I am keeping the timer.
Okay. All right. So I started playing baseball, turned softball, ended up going to Stanford University, where I played there, loved it there, got my master's, and then went to the Olympics, won a gold medal in 2004 in Athens, won a silver medal, or like to call white gold, 2008 in Beijing, China. And right from there, got asked to join ESPN as a softball commentator, switched over to baseball about 6-7 years ago, and started covering Major League Baseball, kind of side-doored it as a sideline reporter, and then went into the booth and been calling Major League Baseball games and still college softball for ESPN.
So back to the beginning, was it always baseball and softball, or did you play other sports?
Oh, I played everything. I mean, and that's what I always tell like kids. I have 2 kids of my own. It's like, do all of it. In fact, basketball was my super passion. Like I wanted, in fact, Stanford, Tara Vanderveer, like I watched them. The reason I wanted to go to Stanford was to be a basketball player. So that's actually what fueled it. But I played soccer. I was a high jumper, and ran the 200 meter in track and field. Also did everything, tried tennis, but kept trying to hit it over the fence, which didn't really work out too well. But yeah, I was a multi-sport athlete and would have even tried football too, but my dad wouldn't let me. So
no, that's awesome. Especially, people are trying to specify sports super early. So that you're a testament to trying everything and, finding what works for you.
Sorry, but sometimes the sport finding you too, because if I had chosen, so for all these young, athletes that are like, okay, I'm picking my sport at 11 years old, 12 years old, even for me up until like 14, it was basketball. And I would have chosen basketball because I was taller at that. I was 5'9" as like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. So I was like the tall girl, but then I stopped growing. And I was a forward. So like, I never would have made it. And yet softball was what I continued to play. And I loved it too, but it wasn't the same. And so that's why I say is you might have the sports where you're like, this is mine and I'm going to pick this. Well, sometimes that sport doesn't pick you. So it's true. Play them all.
Well, I'm a former basketball player, so I would have loved to see you play for Tara, but that's awesome. What lessons did you take from playing sports young that you took beyond the field?
Definitely the balance of humility and confidence, the ability to have, that insecurity that, I definitely had of like, am I good enough? What do I need to do to get better? So like, that's what got me in the gym. That's what allowed me to stay after practice to work on hitting the drop ball, like all the things that, you are insecure about, and you have that humility because I do think it drives you. I think it's good to have a balance of that. Where I struggled and then had to learn was the confidence of like, okay, now it's game day. Like you put in the prep, you've had the insecurity, all of that, but now it's game day. You are the best player on this field and absolutely owning who you are and what you've prepared to be. So that to me is that switch and that balance. And even in the workplace now, I'm constantly like, am I good enough? Here I am, one of the only women in Major League Baseball. And I have that insecurity. I didn't play Major League Baseball. I get it. Like, I don't have that same foundation yet. Through the sport that I played, through my own experiences, I am going to give you something that I think is also unique and really good to listen to. But I have to balance that all the time. And it's not easy, but playing sports is what allowed me to learn that, like, it's okay to be humble, but be able to turn on that switch when the light comes on and showcase what you've done.
Yeah, I definitely will be taking that away myself. I'm writing that down, taking that with me. You're obviously a role model for young girls. Who were those people for you that you looked up to growing up playing sports?
Gosh, I mean, obviously, there's mom and dad, who's around you. And then also there was, my dad was big because he was a coach. He was a football, baseball coach, and just constantly drove my sister and I like what are you doing to get better? We had a weight room before you could eat dinner. You had to lift weights. Like I had friends now that joke are like, I hated going to your house for dinner because your dad always made us lift weights. We weren't even playing sports. And like, they had to like do the like cleans, and we're talking like serious lifting too. And that was huge because it set this like, work ethic amongst us. I mean, having a coach as a dad will do that. But then even just like the local varsity athletes, like I remember, going and watching a high school game. And this is what I tell people, your role models don't always have to be the super famous. They can be, but also have someone on the micro, right? Someone that's local that you can go up and touch and see and be around. And I remember Julie Borchard, seeing her on the varsity team. I played with her younger sister. She was an awesome shortstop, and she ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Wisconsin. And it was the first time I ever knew of a female athlete that was getting their school paid for in college. Like never even occurred to me. You hear about these people, but she was like right down the street from me. And so that just opened my eyes to like education in sport and like, wow, like these two can go hand in hand. Like, I don't like this math class, but if I work hard and like push through the stuff I don't want to do and get good grades, I can actually achieve this goal, this bigger goal of being able to get a scholarship in college. So that was a huge role model for me. And then of course, like Dot Richardson, Lisa Fernandez, two huge softball players in our game, Lisa being Hispanic. Fernandez was huge for me as a Mendoza, like seeing that. She was like, way up here, the GOAT, right? But being able to see a kick-ass female athlete with a last name of Fernandez was huge.
Absolutely. And obviously, you're on the macro level for a lot of young girls. You've been the first to break through a lot of barriers, a few of those being first female analyst for an ESPN MLB game on TV, the first female analyst for a nationally televised MLB postseason game, first female analyst for a men's college World Series telecast. And since that wasn't enough, you were part of the first female duo to call an MLB game for ESPN. As someone who's already been a pioneer already in their career, what other firsts would you like to see in sports?
On the field, and when I say on the field, I mean all of it. So I want to, if you take baseball in itself, I would love to see, there are women playing baseball, but see that continue to push where we start to see more women, even in the minor leagues and the professional realms, but most importantly in the ownership and the front office. Kim Ng, this last year, the first general manager in all of Major League Baseball for the Miami Marlins. Rachel Balkovec just 2 weeks ago was announced as the first ever manager. She'll be in the Yankees organization at the low A, single A for the Yankees, managing a team. So to be able to see more of the decision makers as women is something that I think needs to happen across all men's professional sports, but especially those that are hiring and making these bigger ultimate decisions.
That was actually my next question, because I had Rachel on the show a couple months ago, actually.
Of course you did.
Yes. And as you mentioned, she's been recently promoted. How impactful and important is that hire?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more impactful as we see her on the field, because I think it's great. We see this all the time, the big news press release, all the media attention that comes from that. I'm excited to see her do her thing. In fact, this is something working with ESPN that I want to follow her with some cameras. Like I want there not to just be this announcement that comes through on your Twitter feed or whatever, but I want girls, women, boys, men, everyone to see her, because she's really good. So like to actually see what is a manager at that level, because when it's Rachel, she's fluent in Spanish. She's getting down with the Latin guys and talking to them and working on their hitting. She just came as a hitting coordinator. So, I mean, that's her background, yet her eye training, she lived in the Netherlands for years to be able to understand the importance of like hand-eye coordination and how to train your eyes to better see and visualize. There's so much in her background. In fact, I think she's overqualified for the job, but I think it's important for people to see and not just read the headline, but actually understand what does that really mean. Same with Kim Ng, everyone, all these firsts, I want people to really see Kim Ng in action, to see how great she really is.
No, I'm excited as well to see her on the field, but yeah, I hope you get to follow her around with some cameras. So I'd love to see that as well. We're going to change gears a little bit. I do a segment called It's a Vibe. All right. So what is something that you are really enjoying right now that you would say it's a vibe?
traveling. I know,
Okay.
COVID, it seems like it's here to stay. It's been hard. And I've just finally been like, okay, I'm vaccinated. My family's vaccinated. We just got back from Montana last night. We did Yellowstone in the winter and the geysers, and we're trying to plan a trip to Spain here. I don't know. I really like right now, my big thing, and this is my off season. So, baseball's around the corner. So being able to get out there again culturally. My family originally is, from Mexico, but originally too from Spain, and I've never been. So like, there's places I want to show my kids experience with my children. We live up here in Oregon. So we have a trailer. We're actually parking at a mountain this weekend. We're for the first time going to literally spend the night in our trailer in the snow. But right at the base of a mountain, get out and go ski and just do some adventures. So that's kind of my vibe right now, especially because it's off work time. So to me, it's all family time and like adventure time.
Yeah, I can't exactly relate. It snowed here in Georgia and it might not even been, an inch. So I'm sure your experience yesterday was a little different than mine, but I have some rapid fire questions for you. So obviously, answer them quickly, but they range across the board. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite women's sports moment of all time?
Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs, Battle of the Sexes.
What was your best asset as a basketball player?
Ooh, my hops for sure. And boxing out. Can I have two? Because I got under the basket. Like I threw blows. I wasn't the tallest. So
I was a very similar basketball player. 5'8", stopped growing in 8th grade, but I was a post player.
Yeah.
Who thought
honestly,
of that?
well, and I know these are quick, but seriously, really tall women, especially in high school under the basket, they weren't aggressive.
Yeah.
They're used to just their whole life. They just stand there like giraffes and get the ball. And so I just you could throw some blows and get in there and shove them around and that's how you battle.
Oh no, I completely understand. That's how I made a living. What is your dream sporting event to attend?
Probably because I've knocked two of them off, the Masters and Wimbledon. So now I would say I've maybe the Kentucky Derby, just because it's another big one that I've always, even though I'm not into horse racing at all, but I want to check off all the big ones.
Right. Okay, that's the first for rapid fire on this show. Dream sporting event to cover, and you covered at every level, so I'm curious to know what this answer is.
I'm not good at these. I don't know. I guess maybe Super Bowl. Why not?
Yeah.
To be able, not as an analyst, but to be able to cover it would be really cool. I come from a football family, so I know they would appreciate it.
Yeah. Celebrity, dead or alive, that you'd like to attend a game with?
Oh man. Ooh, okay. Attend a game. Babe Didrikson. I don't know if you know who she is, but yeah, she was the first female athlete that she was an Olympic, she was a golfer. She did track and field. She did everything. This is 1920s, 1930s.
Okay.
And I would just love to pick her brain because she was superstar athlete way ahead before women were allowed to be athletes. And she was just so good that they couldn't stop her. And I don't know, I'd kind of like to bring her to now and let's go watch the WNBA game. Let's go watch and just have her be oh, this is so cool. Because she was one of the first.
That would be awesome. Who is the softball GOAT in your opinion?
Softball GOAT?
GOAT, yep.
Oh, Lisa Fernandez. Okay. Out and out. Yeah, she's ridiculous.
Who is your baseball GOAT?
I include the person, I guess, into that one. And maybe because he recently passed, so he's just on the heart, but Hank Aaron, everything that he went through to accomplish his career and then being able to spend some time with him before he passed, just listening to his stories, his background, come from Alabama and just no money, nothing, and then everything he accomplished. He didn't even have shoes when he left to go play professional baseball. Wow. Just wrap your mind around that. Yeah. And he was the greatest home run hitter, breaking Babe Ruth until Barry Bonds broke his, but it's incredible what that man did.
Yeah, well, we're big fans here in Atlanta. What's
Yeah.
your favorite sports achievement?
Gold medal, without a doubt. It's
Gold
cliche, but oh my God, is it freaking cool.
Well, I think you did pretty well. I did skip over a question that I promised I would ask. A friend of mine from college, she was on the softball team, and she's a big fan of yours. Her name is Marissa Boyette. She was a pitcher on the college softball team, and now she coaches young girls. She said,
yes, I love her.
She
Seriously.
asked, what have you seen specifically in softball that has made it grow exponentially as a TV sport compared to baseball and other non-football basketball sports?
Speed of the game. Speed of the game and the emotion of the players, like those two things hand in hand. The game is so much quicker. Softball is like, let's go, like catch the ball, here it comes, like, and there's just so much action. Baseball is slow, like look over to first, get the sign, step off, like, oh my gosh, just pitch the freaking ball. Softball is just, it's by nature, it's smaller. So everything's like more compact. It's quick. Like you don't have time. Like everything is like, let's go. It takes you 2.5 seconds to get rid of the ball to get someone out at first base. So I love that. To me, it's like high excitement. It's only 7 innings. So like, let's go. It's better.
It's better. That's awesome. Well, I'm sure she'll appreciate that answer. The show is called Major Keys. And so at the end of every show, I ask, what is one major key or piece of advice that you would give to those who are watching?
To stand out, you have to find what makes you different. I think there is a pressure out there to fit in, right? To look and act and be like what you see on social media, or you see on television, you see sometimes amongst your friends. And yet, like, to be successful, you need to separate yourself. And so my biggest advice, that key, the major key, is to find what makes you unique, what makes you different, what fires you up, what gets you going, and set yourself apart from your peers. It's okay to be different. We try so hard to blend. And I really believe if you can find within yourself what actually sets you apart from everyone else around you. And by the way, your real people, your real friends will love that about you. If they walk away and say, you're different, that's just out there, they weren't your people. So find that, raise it from the rooftops. And that to me is what allows you to get to that next level and ultimately just stand out amongst everyone else.
I love that. Like I said, I'm taking notes myself and taking your advice to heart. I love your passion. But thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to continuing to work with you on the Night Commission, of course, and finally meeting you in person.
I know. I can't wait for our meeting in person because I missed the last one. And so I can't wait to actually hang out and not just be on a visual screen. I got the keys.